2 Kings tells us that Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he became king. However, 2 Chronicles tells us that he was 8 years old when he became king. How do we answer this alleged discrepancy? Whether we like it or not, the Bible does contain what we call scribal errors, which have crept into its textual transmission history. In biblical Hebrew, there were no characters representing numbers. At times, certain letters were combined to give us a number, a time period, or an age. Letters stood for numbers, so a copyist could have misread one letter for another letter and then copied an incorrect number. This is what we find in these numerical discrepancies. This is a fact of history that is true of every single work of literature that was written down and copied before the printing press. It's true of the Hebrew Bible, the Christian Bible, the Quran, the Hindu scriptures, and even epic poems like the Iliad and the Odyssey. No one is going to deny this, because it's just a fact of history. Copyists are human beings, they don't copy 100% perfectly and impeccably, and no two scribes make the same mistakes. But this isn't even a problem in the first place, because in the Bible, we do have the actual age recorded. If one verse tells me one age, and another verse tells me another, the fact that one presents the correct age already, and the fact that we can identify which one is a scribal error in the first place, and moreover, the fact that we can tell from the context of the passage itself which age is correct, means that nothing was corrupted. It's like being in a scenario where you're presented with two gold coins. One of them is real, and the other one is not. But you're still able to tell which one is real, and at the end of the day, you still have the real one right in front of you, and it's not going anywhere. If the king is too young to reign, then obviously, that's the discrepancy, and the right age is the other one that's recorded. No corruption. Now, believe it or not, this is actually a testimony to the care and preservation of the Bible. This shows the integrity and honesty of the scribes who were copying the biblical texts. They actually copied the discrepancies, instead of trying to cover them up and get rid of them. So if there are two accounts, which display two different ages, human nature is to correct those variants and make them line up. The fact that they didn't do that, tells you that when the scribes saw these discrepancies, out of their fear and respect for God, they didn't change one of them. They left it as it was, lest they be held accountable to God. Now, some people would say, how can copyist errors get into God's word? Who said these errors are God's words? The mistakes are not God's. This is not how God preserved the Bible. The way God preserved the Bible is by having numerous copies of the biblical books, produced in multiple areas, the world over. So that when these texts were mass copied, and then distributed, this made it humanly impossible for any individual, or any group of individuals, to gather the copies and change them the way they wanted to. So this mass transmission and copying of the Bible books all over the world, in different languages, guaranteed that the original wording of the original autographs will always be there within the manuscript stream, unchangeable and preserved. Because no two copyists will make the same mistake. Just with the New Testament alone, this is how many manuscripts we have in different languages. In terms of New Testament discrepancies or variants, here they are. Less than 1% do affect the meaning of the text, and come from earlier manuscripts. But none of these variants challenge or affect essential Christian doctrines.